Hello, my name is Steve. I am the Affordable Life Coach. Life coaching everybody can use and benefit from. I encourage you to give it a try. The consultation's free. The email's in the description. Today we're going to talk about something that comes up in my coaching sessions, and that is fear, anxiety, worry, stress, and how people typically deal with those emotions. And the most common thing is it's human nature to avoid things that make us uncomfortable, avoid things that cause us anxiety, avoid things that cause us worry, avoid things that can cause us to get rejected. And what that avoidance does, it's called safety behaviors. So you avoid talking to the boss about asking for a raise. You avoid setting boundaries or returning a call when someone asks you for a favor and you really don't want to. Or a very common and popular one is to do these things over text message. And I always look at text messaging as a form of safety behavior because it's much more of a social stretch, and you're going to get much more growth when you talk to the person and let them know something that they might not like to hear. And we should, like any skill, learning a language, playing the piano, learning how to play tennis, you've got to practice it. You got to practice it over and over and over. And you start small, you work your way up, and you start developing self-esteem, you start developing confidence, you start developing enthusiasm for life. You start developing I can't wait for life to bring me a challenge, something that makes me uncomfortable, something that will create anxiety, because that should be our compass. We want that to be our compass. Hey, if something's making me uncomfortable, that's the direction I want to move in. That's the only way you're going to grow and evolve. It's like going to the gym, no pain, no gain. And what we do is we say, oh, I struggle with anxiety, social anxiety. I struggle with fear, and I can't do this and I can't do that. And I'm not saying we don't struggle. We all have anxieties and fears, of course, but it's how we deal with it that matters. And there's a lot of societal, cultural enablers. They'll say, oh, that makes you anxious. Well, you shouldn't have to do that. No one should make you do that, or you should avoid that. And you should play your life safely. Live within the narrow path of comfort, ease, and security. And then we can't understand why we're depressed, why we're unfulfilled, why we don't have deeper connections with people, why people avoid us, or why we avoid other people. And avoidance and these safety behaviors stunt our emotional, spiritual, psychological growth. It's just not rewarding, it's not fulfilling, and there's no magic pill that can overcome this. The only thing that works is not numbing out, not going to screens and internet addiction, or not going to shopping, or not using food to numb out, to ease your anxiety. I look at anxiety when I'm coaching people. I want to find out what their anxiety are, because oftentimes it's a call to action. It's an indicator. You're getting feedback from your brain, from your emotions, from your feelings of action that is not being taken. And that creates massive amounts of anxiety is when we procrastinate, when we resist, when we avoid, when we play it safe. You want to be anxious? Do those things. You don't want to have high self-esteem and feel good about yourself? Do those things. Playing it safe doesn't produce the rewards that we want in life. And our brain tricks us. It makes us feel like things are much worse than they actually are. And I get this when I'm coaching clients, is we'll work on some of their social stretching or something that they're fearful of doing, and like asking their boss for a raise, telling someone no, that they don't want to help them move, things like that. And it's so blown up in our mind catastrophizes these fears, anxieties, and worries. And then once we actually do it, they tell me, one, I felt so exhilarated. It was amazing. I felt like, it's such a sense of accomplishment and like this burst of euphoria that I overcame a fear that I have been avoiding for many years. And then the other thing is, it wasn't so bad. It wasn't that hard. It wasn't that difficult. It wasn't that complicated. The person didn't react as negatively as I anticipated. And sometimes it can be challenging, that's for sure. But the majority of the time, our mind exaggerates and magnifies our fears, worries, stresses, and concerns. And if you I'll just start with small stuff, but you just start stretching yourself, and then the challenging stuff becomes easier and easier and easier. But every day, wake up in the morning, go, what can I do to stretch my comfort zone, to make myself move towards the things that are making me fearful or anxious? It's such an exciting way to live, and it's empowering, and it makes you feel good about life. So we don't have really an anxiety problem, a stress, worry, fear problem. Yeah, that's the problem. But we focus so much on the obstacle and the problem. And what I'm saying, that's not the real problem. The real issue is a lack of courage. We don't have the courage because we don't exercise that muscle. When I was younger, I used to do a lot of traveling, rode my bicycle halfway across country by myself, slept in the middle of nowhere, used my camped out, and there were all kinds of strange noises. And in the middle of the night, I'm in the middle of nowhere, and like I hear all these strange noises and brush crunching, animal sounds. Sometimes I didn't know if they're people. It's like the mind will just do all these kinds of crazy things. But the more I exposed myself to it, like I was doing it for 2.5 months. And week 1, I was terrified. I was just like curled up in my sleeping bag, hoping I'm not going to get eaten or someone's not going to attack me or nothing bad's going to happen because I'm in the middle of nowhere. And then week 2, it became a little bit easier. Week 3, even easier. And then, after the first month, it's like not that big of a deal. My brain has acclimated to something that's normally outside of our comfort zone, because normally we don't sleep out in the middle of nowhere in our tent by ourselves. It's just not a normal occurrence. And that's the way fear works. If I were to say, oh, I'm too afraid, I heard a noise, let me pack up my tent and let me go to the nearest motel or hotel, I'm just strengthening my fear. I'm signaling to my brain that fear is something valid, fear is something to worry about, and that fear is something to avoid. And what we lack is courage. Courage is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. But if you don't have courage, you got to realize the price is going to be fear, living a fear-based life, living an anxious-based life, avoiding social interactions, avoiding people that make you uncomfortable, conversations. And that's just no way to live. We get one shot on planet Earth. Why not grow and evolve and move and attack our fears, attack the things that make us anxious? Now, I'm not talking about doing something that's super risky where your life's in jeopardy or anything like that. I'm talking about being smart, being wise, and being prudent. But most of our fears are not anywhere near the danger that we perceive. Our brains, through evolution and through our tribe, when we used to live in tribes, a lot of them originated or evolved from that. We didn't want to get exiled from the tribe. We didn't want to be, because that could mean death. We didn't want to take risks because we could eat the wrong type of plant, the wrong type of food. We can enter enemy territory. We can cross a lion or a vicious wild animal, and it was life or death. Now life is much more safe, secure, and our lives are not in danger as our ancestors, what they had to struggle with. But that social rejection is very, very primal. And you just recognize it. Boy, my brain, a lot of that old programming that our ancestors had is very dominant. And that's why we exaggerate our fears. But it's the most fulfilling way to live life. And you can't have it both ways. You can't have a life of safety, ease, and comfort and expect to feel good about yourself, expect to have high self-esteem, expect to feel a sense of accomplishment, expect to feel calm, relaxed, serene. That's another benefit. As you start moving toward the things that make you anxious and fearful, you start becoming calmer. You start becoming serene, peaceful. And that's what I think when it comes down to it, that's what we all want. We want that sense of inner peace. And it's just incredible how peaceful we feel when we move towards the things that make us uncomfortable. And then the things that make us uncomfortable start becoming comfortable. And then we could stretch it another 2 steps, 5 steps, 10 steps. But just moving in that direction day by day and setting little mini goals. And that's what I do in coaching sessions, is you have accountability, you have support, you have someone giving you the strategies and techniques. I've been doing this a long time. This is all I do. This is all I breathe, sleep, drink, eat, is self-development, psychology, coaching, and how to make people get the most out of their lives. That's why professional athletes have coaches, right? It's like everybody benefits from it and everybody evolves and grows because it's human nature to want to take the safe, easy, comfortable path. If you're interested, my email's in the description. If you'd love to support the channel, there's a PayPal link. I greatly appreciate it. Comments, likes, subscriptions, if you like these types of videos, are also appreciated. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this message. And I'd love to hear about in the comments the fears and anxieties and stresses, how you have successfully overcome them in your life. Because I don't know of an easier, simpler way than moving towards the things that make us uncomfortable. And it extinguishes so many fears and so many insecurities. Thanks for tuning in. Look forward to next time. Bye-bye.